my first ever broadcast in a general election. Please note that this event is being videotaped for distribution later on the internet. If you do not wish to be photographed, please avoid contact with the camera at all times. I'd like to take the format of speaking to you first, and then I'll take some questions from the floor later. So why am I standing? I must admit that I'm standing largely because I share with you an increasing resentment in our system of politics in this country. The expenses scandal has been an awful milestone in the history of this proud nation. June will see me celebrate my 50th birthday. For half of that time I've watched with increasing dismay at the decline of our once great nation. My grandfathers and other members of my family fought 2 world wars in the name of freedom. They went to war because they believed in freedom and democracy and to preserve our country's values and way of life. I'm too old to volunteer for active service now, but I feel I can no longer stand idly by and watch the future generations grow up in a land that denies to them the civil liberties and freedoms that were given to me by my forefathers, by their blood, sweat, tears and toil. I'm standing in this election as I want to establish democratic reform as our #1 priority in this election. I believe we should sort out some system of representation first, and everything else will surely follow. At least we will all be in this together. We must get back to trusting each other, and therefore the people we choose to represent us must be trusted also. Today we've revealed the true nature of politics today, whereby the political classes have separated us from us by the bubble surrounding the Westminster and the people who lived in there. Not only does this Prime Minister show us how much time he has for the ordinary voter in Rochdale, but the expenses and lobbying scandal illustrates that politicians are ostensibly out for their own ends, to feed their own egos and their own bank accounts. Whatever happened to public service? Whatever happened to looking after the interests of the electorate? I, for one, am tired of being force-fed legislation that only seems to favour our politicians' lavish lifestyles by a government that, once elected, takes no consideration of the views of the electorate. I'm disgusted by the continual breaking of electoral promises by these parties and those who are elected through them, and the policy of taxing their way out of trouble created by their incompetence. An uncle of mine made a point to me the other day that political parties would never stand up as a business. Who would run a budget deficit that would last for 5 years of billions of pounds? So I asked the question, are our politicians the right people for the job? Are we recruiting the right people to these esteemed positions? Can we trust them? It's already been mooted that we should have the right to sack a failing MP, but what criteria are we going to apply here? No one has explained what's involved. If you elect me, would you stand up and say, Andy Morris, you're no good, now go? There is no criteria for this. Do we need to consider what's involved to stand for Parliament and who can fill that position? Do we need to define a contract of what we expect our representatives will do to make us feel part of the process of decision making in this country? I think we do. I believe that we should set out to the electorate a set of criteria that a representative will undertake as a matter of course, a new contract between people and democracy and the voters. I would suggest an MP should hold a monthly meeting around the constituency, not only to take views on issues locally that affect national politics, but also to report back from Westminster about what could affect the constituency in the forthcoming parliamentary month, as they should do now, but some MPs don't.